Hi. Today's practice is going to be focusing more on shoulders, rotator cuff. I'd like to qualify before you continue with this. If you are having severe rotator cuff issues and really cannot move your shoulders without pain, this may not be the practice for you. There is assuming in this practice that you have some good general range of motion and are looking to create better mobility and strength. So let's just go ahead and get started. Start on our backs, and you will probably want either a bolster or two pillows. I always like to have a blanket under my head, so just go ahead and let yourself roll on down to the floor. And once you're on the ground, making sure that you're in good posture. So when the spine is in good posture, the shoulders are in better posture. We can move them more easily. So we're looking for the center of the pelvis to be on the floor, shoulder blades rather than rounded, we want to press them down towards the back waist. So we're almost trying to tip the tops of the shoulders a little bit more towards the floor and then the center of the head. Just let yourself take a few moments to adjust to this. If you've been seated and your upper back's been a little bit rounded, this may feel like a lot of flattening in the upper back, in the thoracic area. So just take your time, give yourself a moment, allow the front of the rib cage to kind of spread open a little bit. And that'll start to help reduce some of that tightness in the back of the upper body. So once we're there, let's just go ahead and draw the knees in so we get a little bit of movement in the back. That's also going to start to move your elbows and shoulders some. So just a little exhalation as you draw the knees in, letting the elbows bend. As you inhale, arms will straighten a little bit. Just a couple times back and forth. There's no rush for this. We're really trying to take the time, maybe noticing how your shoulders and shoulder blades move with this little bit of movement. We'll go ahead and let that movement get a little bit bigger by letting the feet go up and follow with your hands. Kind of reach for your ankles. And as you exhale, elbows are going to be bending. Bring your elbows to the floor. And inhale, reach and stretch a little bit. And exhale, everything comes down, elbows to ground. Again, this is an inhalation and reach. Exhale, knees pulled in. Couple more times. Little flexion in the ankles if you'd like to. Just turning the soles of the feet to the ceiling, getting a little bit of pull in the hamstring. Couple more times. And then go ahead and release. Elbows resting on the floor. We'll take feet to ground. And then letting the arms with a very soft and bent elbow, letting them drift overhead as you inhale. And exhale, letting them come all the way down to alongside your body, palms fully touching the ground. And again, soft elbow, taking the arms completely overhead, backs of the hands towards the floor. Bend the elbows as much as you need to. And the exhalation, palms to the ground. And just feeling this motion over your shoulder blades, kind of going up and down. Making sure when the arms are coming over, you're really coming into an inhalation. And the exhalation, arms come back down. So turning the backs of the hands to the floor, snuggle those shoulder blades back underneath, and sliding your arms out to a T. Walk your feet a little bit wider apart. So if you were to look down, your heels would be on the outside of your hips. And we'll go ahead and just take the knees down to the floor. Actually, I'm going to take my left hand and rest it on my belly. Right arm is out to the side. And letting the knees drift over to the left. And then bringing your right hand to the belly and left arm opens out to a T, knees go to the right. So we're just going to go back and forth here, exchanging direction of the knees and exchanging arms. Rolling on that elbow as you bring your hand to your belly, other arm reaches out, just back and forth a few times. And the next time you find your knees coming to the left hand rests on your belly, right arm is extended. Just stay there, maybe reach out through those fingers a little bit, encouraging the back of the right shoulder to be resting on the floor. Just kind of a passive arm now, just letting it stay there. Looking for a little bit of pull or stretch or openness. If nothing else, just exploring what's happening here. And then we'll switch sides, bringing the palm of the hand to the belly. Left arm opens out. And give a little reach. And then release that arm to the ground. Very passive here with the left shoulder. Maybe as you inhale, you can feel a little bit of lift. As you exhale, feeling that shoulder settle back down. And then rolling onto your back. Reestablish your posture, so we can always start from a good place for the shoulders. And left arm is going to reach out to the side. And then with an extended arm, bringing it across the body. So a lot of times when that happens, the arm comes across and the shoulder wants to close the distance between the top of the shoulder and the earlobe. And we're going to just reach around and really encourage that shoulder to pull away from the ear, really dropping it down. Like you're trying to pull that left shoulder down towards your left heel. And then let your left arm bend, bring your fingertips to the floor, and then extend. Couple times here, just bending, reaching for the floor and extending, still pulling that left shoulder down towards the left heel. Check, see if you've rolled onto your side, keep the back on the floor. And then next time your fingertips are coming to the floor, we'll just stay there, continuing to pull the left shoulder down towards the left heel. And we'll go ahead and extend left arm. And then slow, easy release, soft elbow, just sort of unfolding your arm onto the floor. Let your left arm rest a minute. And regain posture and right arm out to the side. Extended, bringing it across the body. If you notice that that shoulder's lifting up into that right ear, pull it down towards your right heel. Arm is extended. Once you really have that shoulder pulled down, go ahead and bend the elbow, bringing right fingertips to floor and extend. Just noticing a little bit of difference in how your shoulder may receive this, right side and left side. Couple times, keep breathing, keep holding that right shoulder down towards right heel. And then the next time that right elbow is bent, fingertips pointed to the floor, reaching for the floor, stay there. Making sure we haven't rolled onto the left side body, back is on the ground. And then go ahead and extend right arm, reach through, and release, letting the elbow get very soft, just unfurling your arm onto the floor. Very passive. So from here, we're going to need the two pillows. I'm going to turn onto my right side so I can face you. I want to try to keep the spine in alignment so the head's not too high. Just trying to keep in alignment with the spine. Then letting your right fingertips point up towards the ceiling. Left hand's going to come over and very gently, easy, guide the palm of the left hand towards the floor. And then releasing, taking the arm back. My blanket's in the way. Taking the back of the hand to the floor. And then coming up again, just that easy, very gentle, just looking for the comfortable end range of motion. And then back. Couple more times. Nice, slow, we're not rushing. And then the next time that hand comes forward, we'll just kind of hold that for a few breaths. My wrist is relaxed, I'm not pushing, just assisting in this range of motion. And then releasing, taking the back of the hand to the floor. We'll pause there for a few moments. Trying to see if the wrist is lifted, really trying to keep the back of the wrist towards the floor the best you can. You feel this in the shoulder. Go ahead and straighten that right arm and then release. So you'll want to roll over now onto your left shoulder. I'm just going to move my pillow so I can keep staying facing you all. And bringing your head to the floor, to your pillows. Knees are on top of each other. And then bending the left arm, right hand comes over, and just gently staying easy in the arm. And then back of the left wrist and the back of the hand go to the floor. So again, we're not here, really pressing that wrist to the ground. You may have a lot of difference, right side, left side, in this motion. I know I definitely do. Just keep easy, slow breathing. We're not rushing or pushing. And after a few times, next time that left hand comes down, just gently support. And then releasing the back of the hand, back of the wrist to the floor. We'll hold for a few moments. Straightening that left arm out, and then release, and letting yourself come all the way up. So we're going to move the pillows out of the way, and if you have kind of sensitive knees, you may want to bring the blanket as we move our way into tabletop. So finding simple tabletop, a little weight bearing now on the shoulders, middle fingers straight ahead. I want to make sure the wrists are comfortable. Tops of the feet planted firmly into the shoelaces so we haven't softened the ankle. Really holding down so we can find the top of that shin bone. If you saw that other video where we talked about staying on that shin bone. We're going to take the elbows down to the ground, letting the back flatten a little bit, and then shifting back. See bones to heels. Coming right up through the elbows, coming up this time to cow pose, directly into a little bit of cow pose. Elbows come down and sitting back. Again, coming up through the elbows. They're not winging out to the side. Keeping the elbows in line with the wrist as you roll yourself up. Cow. Elbows come down in line with the wrist and sitting back. Coming up. So those elbows stay the same distance apart all the time, not letting them wing out and come back together again. Holding them together one more time, we'll come up. And this time bringing your forearm down to your right forearm down to the floor. Having it somewhere underneath the neck or chest, just a place where you feel balanced. And letting your left arm reach out. So notice, without letting the chest turn, keeping the chest to the floor. Reaching the right arm forward, and we'll pull that elbow back into a Joshua tree. Check to see if it's just your hands tipping back, and really concentrate on lifting the wrist. Inhale and reach forward, chest turns to the floor. Take a look down, see if you're twisted. Keep the chest turned to the ground. And reach, pull, reach, pull. We're just taking that elbow to 90, so we're not coming all the way back to the waist. Holding at 90. Reach, pull back, hold that elbow at 90-degree turn. Hold, breathe. One more breath, chest turns to the floor. And then we'll release, sending that arm forward. And then pulling it back, we're going to slide it right underneath, bringing the left side of your head to that right forearm, resting as much as you can into that left shoulder, just sagging your body down and into the left shoulder. Making your way out of this twist, bringing both hands underneath, and we'll walk knees over to the left side. So your knees are more in line with your left hand. Right hip comes to the floor. And we're going to roll ourselves into a twist, taking that left arm around behind you. Looking for twists, knees are stacked. Just letting the weight of your arm pull on the front of that shoulder. And then we'll pick that left arm up about halfway. A little bit of engagement into the pecs. And then we'll start that Joshua tree arm on this side. Again, make sure that it's not just the hand that's turning. Really try to keep that wrist nice and flat. And open, extend, bend a couple times just to 90. Reaching, bending, reaching. We'll bend and hold. Look for that flat wrist, 90 degree in the elbow, about halfway between straight up and to the floor. Let that arm extend and release it all the way back down to the ground. Very passive here. Nice good deep breaths into the ribs, helping to free up some of the muscles around the rib cage with the breathe. And go ahead and release, rolling onto your side, finding your way slowly back into table. Taking elbows to the floor, child's pose. And coming all the way up, and this time we'll bring that left forearm across. Just center it where you feel stable. Palm of the hand is on the ground. Right arm reaches forward and bringing it back. Find Joshua tree. Look to see if your chest twisted. Chest stays towards the floor. Reaching forward. And bend Joshua. Look to see if it's just a wrist and flatten the wrist. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, pull it back, chest square. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, pull. One more time, reach. Exhale, pull and stay. Keep the chest square to the floor. Back of the wrist flat. And inhale, reach and stay. We'll pull that arm through all the way, letting the body weight sink down onto that right shoulder, right side of your head's on your forearm. And slowly making your way back to tabletop, and we'll shift the legs to the right side this time. Left seat bone comes to the ground, rolling yourself into a twist. That right arm comes around to the floor. Gravity is pulling on the front of that right shoulder. And then picking the arm up about halfway, flat wrist, and we'll start here. Bend and extend. Bend and extend. Couple times. On this one, you may want to, if you can, build up to about 10 reps. And then do a hold. We'll just do a few for sake of video time. And then hold with the elbow bent halfway between ceiling and floor. Making sure the elbow's not tipping downward. We continue to rotate the elbow up and the back of the wrist down. Then go ahead and straighten. And then releasing that arm completely to the floor, let it go. And then turning back up all the way around, finding your way back to your tabletop. Hands underneath, elbows down, in line with the wrists, and back into child's pose. So let's go ahead and grab those pillows or bolsters if you have one. I'm going to turn my back to you for just a moment. You're going to be sitting up nice and straight. I'm in a simple cross leg. If that's not comfortable for you, you can just go ahead and let your feet step out. I'm going to take the right arm and reaching it up, bending that elbow. I'm going to reach across if you need that assistance to reach across and help the elbow come back. And inhale as you're reaching up. Exhale, reaching for the center of the back. Reaching up. And notice while I'm sitting here, the back is not rounding and the head dropping down. Really sitting up, eyes are forward. So it may be in the beginning the hand is just coming to the back or the side of your head. Just most important is to keep this upright in the spine and eyes straight ahead. And after you've done a couple of times, just go ahead and release that arm. We won't do any holds, but you can work your way up into holds. And then opposite side, maybe 6 to 8, 10 times. And eventually when you feel comfortable, you can do a bunch of these reps and then hold if that feels good for you. We're lifting up through the ribs, eyes are straight out over the horizon, and then go ahead and release. All right. We're going to come back down onto our bellies again. So we're doing a lot of up and down here. Taking your blanket, putting it to the end of your mat where we started so you can have something to rest your forehead on. And coming down onto the belly. I'm going to fold my forehead one more time so my nose doesn't bump into the floor. Bringing your stomach down onto the ground, tops of your feet. Arms are alongside your body, turning the palms of the hands to the floor. Really reach, slide your fingertips down towards your toes. So you can feel the shoulders pull away from the ears. Then we're going to lift the upper body and then lift the hands. Turning from the shoulders, bring the shoulder blades together and down, turning the palms outward. And then releasing, turning all the way around, letting the shoulder blades open. So we're rounding the upper back. As you inhale, reverse all of that. Shoulder blades pull together, palms of the hands outward. And then reverse, turn the shoulder blades in, out. Inhaling, palms turn out, shoulder blades pull in and down. So we're not way up here. Continue reaching for those toes. And rolling through, palms turn around, shoulders. Inhale, one more time. This time we'll stay. Palms are turned out, shoulder blades rotated together and down the spine. Hold and breathe. And then release, letting your forehead come to the ground. Arms just once again resting on the floor. Taking a breath here. Go ahead and slide your hands back up. And peel yourself up off the floor, finding your simple child's pose for a moment. Elbows to the ground and sitting back. So let's go ahead and grab the blanket, bringing it underneath your knees, coming to tabletop. Extend the left leg down the mat. So left leg is down the mat, right knee is bent. Reaching out with the right arm and creating a turn this time in the body as you reach towards the ceiling. And as you inhale, turning back to center. Top of the right foot is on the ground. Exhale. Inhale, reaching forward, chest turns to the floor. Exhale, chest turns away from the floor. And inhale. Trying to keep the hips as steady as possible. Exhale, turning, hips are steady, ribs are rotating, reaching up through the fingertips, pressing the floor away from you with the left hand. We'll hold. Taking the right fingertips, reach down alongside your body. Reach down, pull the shoulder blade into the spine. Pull the shoulder away from that right ear. Releasing fingertips up to the ceiling again. And then bringing that hand down to the floor. Knee comes underneath you and child's pose. We'll go ahead and rise back up into table. Tops of the feet on the floor. This time right leg extends down the mat. Left foot stays on the ground. Right arm reaches. Sweeping it up, and we'll find that twist. Notice I'm not dropping that right hip. Hips stay square. It's just the rotation in the chest. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, rotating in the chest. Hips stay square. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale. Inhale. One last time. Reaching up, turning, rotating the chest, hips stay square. Arm drops down alongside the body. Pull that left shoulder away from the ear. Left shoulder blade squeezes into the body, reaching down the mat. And releasing fingertips up. And we'll come all the way back underneath. Elbows to the floor and child's pose. Letting go of the energy in your shoulders, your elbows. And we'll rise up, simple table. A few times through cat and cow, letting the chin tuck in. Easy into the cow pose, don't have to go too far. Just a few times. And we'll release neutral. We'll pull the blanket and put it back at the very end of your mat. And coming around. Ooh, let yourself slowly down to on your forearms. Legs down the mat. We'll just get a little lift into the chest. A last little stretch and pull in the shoulders. And then releasing, sliding down onto the ground. Take the time to find your posture. So you're looking for the center of the pelvis, lightness in the back of the waist, shoulder blades tucked downward and flat, and you're on the back of your head. Big breath. So let's go ahead and draw just the right knee in, letting your hands slide down to that shin, pulling, or to the knee, pulling the knee in, and right foot up to the ceiling, elbow to the floor, and exhale, and release. And do the other side. Left knee pulls in, knee pulls in, a little energy in the elbow, sending the foot up, a little stretch in the arm, exhale, coming back down, and that foot and the elbow release to the floor. And letting your arms open out into a T. Legs walk apart a little bit so your heels are wider than your hips. And we'll get a little bit of rock from side to side. Elbows, shoulders, palms of the hands, very passive here. And let your head move a little from side to side if you'd like to. Just making it slow, don't want to go fast and get dizzy. Legs come into center, walk your heels a little bit closer together, and we'll lift up into a little bit of a bridge pose, just putting some pressure across the backs of the shoulders, and letting yourself come down about halfway, so now you're more on the shoulder blades themselves, just a little pressure there, and then slowly letting yourself roll down to the floor, breathing the whole way. And we'll gather both knees into us, bring the knees in. As your feet go up, let your hands kind of stretch towards your shins, and then bringing everything back in. Maybe 2 more times. extra squeeze and draw knees into the belly or shoulders. And then releasing both feet down to the floor. Find your posture. And letting yourself just take a few moments of rest. And letting the arms open out to a T. Making sure they're not above your shoulders, because that can, sometimes you can lose sensation in your hands there. So we want to keep the hands, the wrists just a little bit below the shoulders, somewhere between the body and below the shoulders. Inviting one leg to go down the mat if that feels comfortable. Maybe switch sides, making sure that side's comfortable too. If it is, letting both legs go down the mat. You're welcome to slide those pillows or bolster underneath your knees. And just inviting as much energy as you can to let out of your feet. Maybe wiggle them one last time and then just sort of say goodbye. Up the calves and knees too. Hips. And we're inviting that a belt, as though you were taking a belt off around your waist, just slipping it off. So the whole waistline, belly is releasing and relaxing the back waist too. And bringing your attention to the palms of your hands. Just inviting your fingers to wiggle one last time and really thinking about right now your hands have nothing to do. There's no task for them to do. Nothing to take apart or put together. Wrists don't need to move your hands. And the arms now can just relax on the floor, just rest all the way from the shoulders to the backs of the hands. Inviting the idea that the arms right now have nothing to hold, nothing to carry, nothing to push away. Inviting the shoulders to rest against the floor, the neck, the jaw unclenching. Inviting the tongue to release the roof of the mouth. Inviting all the muscles of the face to let down across the cheeks and corners of the eyes, against the nose. Sides up against the temples. Inviting the eyebrows to move away from each other, letting the eyes close if you'd like to. Forehead. We don't really need to think or organize or do anything right now, so just inviting that forehead to release. Letting yourself stay here for 6 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you feel you need. Taking your time to rest.